welcome to Virtual Concert Hall's live music channel. My name is Chris Now, and I have with me the co-founder of Virtual Concert Halls, Dr. Anna Ouspenskaya.
Chris, thank you very much for a warm welcome. It's such a pleasure to be again on the virtual stage with you on this program for Beethoven.
Yeah, this is part 2 of the documentary of Beethoven's Symphony No. 3, written and narrated by Lawrence Brabchak, created by New Media Productions Worldwide and Virtual Concert Halls, and produced by Architects of Music.
And we're so proud of this incredible collaboration for many years, which was made possible because we all are sharing a passion to connecting musicians and audiences around the globe.
So now we will examine the overall architecture of this first movement, which represents a huge expansion of the classical sonata form, with a coda that is an event unto itself. So now moving along with the exposition, Beethoven extends the upward triad motive, like so. We arrive now in the dominant key of B flat major, but immediately the harmonies become much more intense. But more importantly, as you'll hear, the rhythmic structure goes off the rails to the point where it's literally impossible to tell what's happening. But things then begin to readjust, and we perceive the regular triple meter coming back. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, even though there are no downbeats here. But again, let's just see how the master resolves this disruption. With a big restatement of his main theme. And we see now that its triadic simplicity contains some real potential as a heroic fanfare, wouldn't you say? And now we have a series of linking passages that lead us to the secondary group of materials, all in the dominant key of B flat major, as is standard. Now there are 3 of these linking themes. First one, very important, it's a gentle exchange between the woodwinds. And it's built on that rhythm, dum, ba, bum, bum, ba, bum, ba, which will become very important, so hang on to it. But underneath this gentle exchange, the cellos and basses were playing, sounds like rising triads, yes? Yes, the motive which will bind the entire movement together. Now, the second linking theme is this lovely and unexpectedly dolce, sweet phrase. It's this. Which Beethoven then will energize, and he builds it into our third linking passage. Very intense, and it's in the minor key with a new fleeting rhythmic figure. Bum, ba-da-bum, 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 like so. And again, conflict descends upon the music. But listen how Beethoven resolves it as the music expands and soars. And that, if I am following Beethoven correctly, is the official secondary theme in the dominant key of B flat major. And it moves, as you heard, into the minor key, becomes rather pensive, until Beethoven, thrilled, I am sure, at his command over his creation, now re-energizes, reanimates the music, starting from a whisper. And yet another transformation there of the basic triad motive, a robust and exuberant dance. And you hear it's all built on triads. And then this one, all triads, but more importantly, that rhythm. That's the rhythm I mentioned from that first little linking theme, which will become very important. Bum, 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 bum. Again, now you will hear the music is plunged into tempest, and again, harmonic and rhythmic stability seem to collapse. And again, the music relaxes. So you see there's a continual pattern here of tension and release, instability and stability, with Beethoven in total control. But that upheaval in the rhythm that you just heard, with no downbeat in any measure, and these intense harmonies. 1, 1, 1. And as you heard, the rhythm then freezes. It's stuck in this pattern. 1, 2, 1. I'm not making this up. That's exactly what's written. The notes don't change as you hear. They just repeat. They don't really matter. It's these strokes of rhythm and their division of time that is really important here. And what Beethoven has done in this passage, ingeniously, is to use a rhythmic device that's known as the hemiola. I know it sounds painful, but what it is, it's taking two measures of triple time with accents on the downbeat. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. All right? But now you compress the accents so that they come every 2 beats. So you get 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1. Baroque composers use this hemiola device frequently, but usually they used it in slower, more sustained music. Here, Beethoven's hemiola threatens to throw the music into complete chaos until 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, until, as you heard, once again, things realign themselves with another version of the triad, the rising triad. And then the music relaxes for just a bit. There's one more final burst of power, culminating in another version of the triad figure. It's this. And crowned by these 4 hammered chords. Whoa! This startling cadence. It's actually built on a dominant 7th chord. Yes, but this note, the F, is raised to a G flat. And then it's all superimposed. We have this diminished 7th chord, which is great for intensity. Yeah. It's all superimposed now over the cadential B flat. So we get something like this. Let me see, my hands aren't big enough. Yeah! There it is. How much more could an audience be expected to take back in 1804 when this work was first premiered? And now, the main triad theme, the first theme, is used as a transition. Etc. And the conductor now either chooses to repeat the entire exposition or to continue on into the central development section. We will repeat the exposition, and I will call out all of these events as they occur. The triad main theme is in the cellos. It strays. It triggers the first violins. But Beethoven resolves it. The rising triad theme is extended. And we move into the dominant key of B flat. And the hemiola disrupts the rhythm. We're now in a duple rhythm. Here's the triple rhythm back, and things are now back on track. here is our first linking theme, triads in the bass. And that prominent rhythm. Now in unison. And our second dolce theme, the linking theme. The energy level now increases. And our third linking theme. The intensity increases again, and the music soars. And here is our official secondary theme. And the harmonies darken. And Beethoven begins to reanimate the music. And here is our dance-like theme, all built on triads. And here's that important rhythmic figure in the winds. The intensity builds again. And the rhythm is off the rails yet again. It freezes up the hemiola figure. Here's the main theme, the triad. Yes, the music now relaxes. And once again, surges ahead. And more triads. And those four final chords. The main theme now as transition. And the development section begins.
Wow.
It's really quite amazing. I often think about this symphony as probably one of the most impactful symphonies I heard as a kid or even as a young musician. And with Larry bringing all this on, the one thing that really strikes me is how there's a lot of complexity, but also a lot of simplicity, like the triads, everything built on triads, everything built on the same dotted rhythm exchange, but there's also a lot of complexity, especially as it builds up, like a lot of chromaticism. What are your thoughts on this, just initial reaction in hearing this again?
I don't even know where to start with the symphony itself or with Larry Rabchak's presentation of it. I'm blown away by both. It's been a while since I listened to Beethoven's Third because, it's a symphony which I think professional musicians, most of us, heard bajillion times, studied it, maybe even took exams on analyzing it.
I see.
Things like that. So, and then you kind of get over this is basics, and you don't too often, at least I don't, go back to re-listening to those most basic pieces of repertoire, which build up your general understanding and knowledge of the history of music and stylistics things and all that stuff which requires musicians' lingo to explain. But hearing it again, I think maybe the last time I heard it a few years ago. I don't just go on YouTube and search for Beethoven's Third Symphony.
No, I mean, that's the thing. That's the thing that, like, I feel like right now Mahler is, more popular, or there's other symphonies that you would say that are performed more regularly, and Beethoven 3 might not be performed quite as regularly as some of these other ones. I find, like, even training orchestras or young orchestras are trying to fit in these bigger works, but a fantastically performed Beethoven 3, this Eroica symphony, I want, like, it brings me the fact that as I was listening to this, I wonder what it sounded like in its premiere, and whether it was recorded or whether it was performed as well as we
definitely was not
it.
recorded. That I can guarantee you.
Done. Because that would be really great if we heard it. Because then we could compare. Because I remember records of the premiere of this being not good. Like the people, the audience was not a huge fan of this when it premiered, and I wonder whether it was performed maybe not that well, and therefore it wasn't. Because if I heard this for the first time, I would be stunned, I would think. But again, we're bringing a lot of our own context and what we hear and what we've heard into this equation.
Absolutely, so. I'm sure. And this is such a stunning symphony. It's incredible. We heard, the exposition of it through and through with Larry Rabchak's comments and bringing attention to various aspects of the structure of the symphony as we go along. But the sheer sound of it, the sheer power of the movement and all the... As a musician, of course, I understand, and it's fascinating to be immersed in the inner workings of how the composer created it. But today I was just listening to the music of it.
That's the thing, because I what's amazing about his music, especially for all those who are listening, I've been on holidays, and so I have been not listening to any classical music really, and I've been sort of enjoying my time off. And coming back to this, I realized one thing that makes music really great, or even any writing or movies or any art that's really great, is you don't think about the technique. You're not wondering, how did they do that? Or you're not studying the technique as you're listening or you're enjoying the art, but you're just carried along for the ride. Maybe it's because I've been on holidays, but I just felt like I wasn't really listening to, what kind of chords he's using. I'm just feeling like, wow, how quickly the mood changes and how quickly he builds it back up, how quickly there is this tension and release, how that there is an instability, you're wondering what happens, and then he kind of blows you away with this fanfare again. And I think for me, that's part of what makes this music great, is that you don't need to think about what makes it great. You just are immediately overwhelmed by the emotion of it.
Absolutely. And Beethoven is one of those composers who basically like a very well built roller coaster takes you on the ride right off the bat.
Yeah, absolutely.
With the very first note, you're on that ride, and it's intense. So intensity, I think, is one of his signatures. The waves of development. Once you're buckled up in that little cabin for the roller coaster thing, you're part of that machine of Beethoven's driven development. There's a lot of what we call nowadays back-end to it, which is how he did it. And that part is absolutely fascinating. And Larry Rabchak's insight into it is unmatched.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I was very fortunate to have extraordinary teachers and the exceptional program in my study in Moscow. And the teachers who were, lecturing and teaching the courses of music history were absolutely extraordinary. At the same time, I'm listening to Larry Rabchak. In some ways, it reminds me of the kind of analysis which is in depth, analytical, yet very engaging, and just draws you in. The comparison. So, but at the same time, I can't help appreciating how he puts it out with not just the dry academic kind of approach, which is more common in the musicologist world, which, I mean, it turns off people. People don't want to read these books because they are dry. Yeah. They don't want to go to the lectures because they fall asleep and all that. Yeah. With Larry, his enthusiasm and his concise expression of everything and the passion he puts there, I think are matching Beethoven's own writing.
Yeah, and I mean that's the thing that is really remarkable about Larry Rabchak, and that's the thing that I often wonder about sort of more modern compositions. And I'll tell you why I'm getting at this, is because as he's explaining all this, and as I'm listening to this music, my mind wanders into sort of more modern compositions, or certain pieces of music that take a lot more patience to really understand and know, or even to appreciate. There are some pieces that I feel like you need to really sit in for a while to really appreciate, or maybe even not appreciate, because they may just take too long to get into it. Whereas with Larry's rap track analysis and this music, it's just so quick. Things change so rapidly, and it's interesting because with our attention spans, we often kind of lament that they're very short, but maybe they were short back then too, and therefore Beethoven had to find ways to engage this audience, to really stay and listen to the music and not throw tomatoes at him or the orchestra. So
that's a good point, Chris. I never thought of it that way, but you're right. If you look at Beethoven's own writing and how he structures it, and many other composers, they are constantly seeking and looking for something surprising, something unexpected, something new, something shocking.
Yeah.
And so what, and contrasts and developments and all that. Why would they be doing it? Probably because the audience needed this entertainment hook to stay engaged.
Yeah. And I think the danger started, I think, when maybe classical music or the concert experience was elevated to a status where everybody had to be quiet, everybody had to just sit through Richard Wagner's 3-4 hour opera and just sort of become overwhelmed by it in a way that doesn't allow for any criticism of this was quite a lengthy thing. I had to really sit through it. And I don't know. I'm just pondering out loud, because recently I was sent this piece of music to see if I wanted to perform it by a modern composer. And after 30 seconds to 45 seconds, I was admittedly already like, this is again, like, it's the same kind of motive, same sort of rhythm, same sort of thing. And I was already a little bored by it. I'm like, I can't perform this for this audience, because if I'm already bored, I don't think that anyone else would want to hear this. But I listened to it again, and just to double check my reaction was valid. And again, like, I can't do this. And so I had my partner listen to it, and then she also said, yeah, this is monotonous. And I often wonder, like, how are we reconciling this? Like, what is going on when Beethoven himself, one of those great masters, are already writing music back in the day where music had to constantly kind of change and mix it up with this tension release and this instability, so that we feel like something's going to erupt at any point. And then by the end of this movement, we're just left like stunned, because we just wondered what the heck just happened,
Yeah. This movement really feels, to me at least, like I've just experienced the roller coaster ride of my lifetime, and I'm dizzy.
And I'm like, whoa, like I'm just left stunned. And I kind of love music like that. And I feel like, music, that's where art really just like, it becomes a classic, becomes great. And when you have someone like Larry explaining why this music leaves you breathless,
that's a double. It just doubles the experience, because it really attracts your attention to things in a different way. Understanding what's going on, in addition to experiencing it. Makes the experience all that much more rich.
I think so. I really think so. And I would just say, like, I know that this symphony has been studied so much, and that we have listened to it so much, but then yet there's still a lot of great lessons to be had. I would maintain that even for our modern audience and for our own modern view of art, you look at modern art and it's like splashes of color right in your face, a lot of something shocking and grotesque at times, and it's
all in the air in that symphony too.
Exactly, absolutely. So
Anyway, I have so many more notes, but I'm going to have to save it for next time. Otherwise, we are risking to lose our audience. coming to
Yes, we
the
have
end
to
of our
keep.
time limit,
We have to
Chris.
do it too. We have to do this too, like shocking this and keep it short and snappy. So a big thanks to our team and collaborators, including Nubia Productions, Virtual Concert Halls, Architects of Music, of course, the amazing Larry Rapchak. We want to give a big thanks to everyone who has assisted us and being a part of this wonderful team that makes all of this happen.
Thank you all very much, and to more collaborations in the nearest future. See you, Chris, in a little bit.
Yeah, see you all. Thank you very much.